Heute wird es ungewöhnlich. Ich werde in 2 Sprachen predigen. Сегодня будет необычно. Проповедь будет необычна, я буду на 2 языках говорить. Ich werde mich nicht selbst übersetzen. Ich werde einfach in kurze Abschnitte predigen und dann auf Deutsch und auf Russisch. Es wird nicht direkt eine Übersetzung. Я не буду сам себя переводить, я просто кусочками буду проповедовать по...
Today. Today is a special weekend as tomorrow is the 9th of Av. It's an important day in the Jewish calendar as it's a day of fasting and sadness or commemoration, reflection. It's only one day, and it's a day of grief and fasting, as I already said. After Jewish tradition and Jewish thought, as is described in the Tanakh,
wegen ihrer Angst vor Einzug. In 4. Buch Mose wird es explizit damals genannt. So 40 Jahre in der Wüste.
40 years in the desert.
Für die erste Generation des Auszuges aus Ägypten wurde gerade am 9. Av.
It was exactly on this 9th of that it was announced that the first generation of Jews exiting from Egypt will be in the desert for 40 years. It was the day when it was stated in Deuteronomy that, not Deuteronomy, 4th of Moses, that it was this day that it was announced that they would not be able, this generation exiting from Egypt, that they would not be able to enter the promised land. It was also on this day that the temple was destroyed.
War die Salomonen von Salomon aufgebaute Tempel zerstört. Und das war eine Katastrophe für die Juden. So wie damals beim Auszug aus Ägypten war es katastrophal für die Generation, die in der Wüste gestorben ist, dass sie 40 Jahre in der Wüste wandern werden. So war es auch die Zerstörung des ersten Tempels.
It was exactly on this day that the first temple was destroyed, as Judea was taken, and King Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the temple, and the Jews fully got scattered. And the destruction of the first temple was a terrible incident, event for the Jewish people. And this as well happened on the same day, on the same 9th of Av, as also the day that the generation exiting from Exodus was told that they wouldn't enter the promised land. Another tragic event for the Jewish people also happened on this 9th of Av, as the second temple was also destroyed on this very same day. this is another tragedy for the Jewish people. The rebellion against Rome by Bar Kokhba did not work, and this uprising didn't work. And this also happened on the 9th of Av, and this was another tragedy for the Jewish people. This was the last uprising of the Jewish people against Rome, the Roman people. And this happened in the year 153 after the Messiah's birth. And this was the last Jewish uprising for the next 12th century, for the next 12 centuries. Was this an accident that it again happened on the same day? Perhaps, perhaps not. In the year 136, the Romans, once more on the same day, the following year, the Romans destroyed the earth so that the temple could not ever be rebuilt. And after this year, the land was called after the Philistines, and hence now it's called Palestine, as it comes from the word Philistines from Roman lands. Philistine was the Roman name given to that region. And this is what we find in the Jewish tradition, but according to the Jewish history and narrations, we find even more events that happen on this very same 9th of Av. All these things that happen on 9th of Av are just accidents or coincidence for people who don't believe in God. But for us believers, we believe that there is an intention, a design, as we have witnessed most tragic events happening on this same day, on the 9th of Av. There are some more terrible incidents that happen on this very day following. According to Jewish history, almost tragic events happen on this 9th of Av. And here are some of the events. In this same exact month, the first in this Christian walk to Jerusalem to liberate from the Muslim reign, and as they moved toward Jerusalem, they passed many Jewish synagogues or Jewish villages, and they have killed many of them on their way. And about 10,000 years were killed on their way, on their journey to Jerusalem, on the Christian journey to Jerusalem. And this number of 10,000 for that year, for that time, was very significant. In the year 1290, the Jewish people were also sent out of England through pogroms, burning their houses. Some years after that, Jews were also expelled from France. And this also happened on the 9th of Av. In the year 1492, there was the Inquisition in Spain, and once more the Jews were expelled. And once more it was on the 9th of Av. In the year 1000, let's say 1914 AD, the First World War happened. A lot of Jews were killed in that war as well. And what day did it happen? It happened on the 9th of Av. In the year 1914, was this an incident, an accident? That it happened on the same exact date? In 1940. In the year 1940, it was the final solution regarding the Jewish question finalized by Nazi Germany, and they got instructions to destroy all Jews. And this also happened on the same date, on the same 9th of Av. In the year 1942, the transportation of the Jews to concentration camps started. And on what date? Well, on that exact same 9th of Av. There's some more events that happen on the same day, but I shall stop listing them. You can probably see how very important this day is for the Jewish people, for generations, for years, for centuries. This 9th of Av is a very important day of fasting and of grief. We grieve all these events that have happened. It's a very strong fasting, just as was on Yom Kippur. On Yom Kippur and 9 Av, we don't eat from the very evening to the next evening, and this evening is very strict. This fasting is very strict, and you dress according to your grief. And it's even prohibited to study the Torah, as the Torah brings joy and builds up our hope. And if the 9th of Av falls on a Saturday, you have to move this day to the 10th. As on the Shabbat, on the Saturday, you read the Torah. The closet to the Torah is even covered by a black cloth to depict and present grief. All decorations are also taken out of the synagogue, as the 9th of Av is a very sad day, and the roots of this day are very deep intertwined into the Jewish history. And I believe that even at the time of Yeshua, this day was important. And to get an insight or get a glimpse of what Yeshua did on this day, I would recommend opening up the Gospel of Luke. Let us see how Yeshua responded to all these tragic events in the past, and we're still awaiting them in the future. So now let's open up the Gospel of Luke, chapter 12. Luke chapter 13.
Yeshua sagte: Jerusalem, Jerusalem, die du tötest die Propheten und steinigst, die zu dir gesandt werden. Wie oft habe ich wohl deine Kinder versammelt, wie eine Henne ihr Nest unter.
Luke chapter 13, 34 and 35. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the one who kills the prophets and stones those who are sent to her. How often I wanted to gather your children together, as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, but you were not willing. See, your house is left to you desolate. And assuredly, I say to you, you shall not see me until the time comes when you say, Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.
Ein Schmerz von Yeshua, so wie Schmerz Gottes über alle Leiden des jüdischen Volkes. Oh, wie oft, wie viele.
Here we see Yeshua's grief and sorrow. How many times he's stating how many times he wanted to take all of Jerusalem under his wing and collect them, protect them. And he says this exactly the same way as God did numerous times. Yeshua was filled with sorrow and grief on the day of 9th of Av. He grieved over all those catastrophes or all these tragic events. And he was in the same grief as we are on this 9th of Av. Another passage. There's another passage where we see Yeshua's heart regarding the Jewish people. Luke chapter 19 from the verse 41. Luke chapter 19 verse 41 until 44. Now as he drew near, he saw the city and wept over it, saying, If you had known, even you, especially in this your day, the things that make for your peace, but now they are hidden from your eyes. For days will come upon you when your enemies will build an embankment around you, surround you and close you in on every side, and level you and your children within you to the ground, and they will not leave you one stone upon another, because you did not know the time of your visitation.
И когда приблизился Yeshua к городу, то, смотря на него, заплакал о нем и сказал: «О, если бы и ты хотя бы в сей твой день узнал, что служит миру твоему, но это сокрыто ныне от глаз твоих. Ибо придут на тебя дни, когда враги твои обложат тебя окопами, окружат тебя и стеснят тебя отовсюду. И разорят тебя, и побьют детей твоих в тебя, и не оставят тебя камня на камне за то, что ты не узнал времени посещения твоего».
Yeshua cried over Jerusalem, over the Jews.
Für Jeschuas Herz war es absolut essentiell wichtig, dass es Juden gut geht.
For Yeshua, it was very important that the Jewish people were in a good condition, that they were doing well. and not suffering. It was a very deep grief of Yeshua and of God and his other apostles and disciples. He cried over the past, tragic events of Jerusalem and of those of future, as we have seen also in Luke chapter 13, now also in Luke chapter 19. He loves the Jewish people and he wants to save them and wants them happiness. And all these suffering, tragic events are a pain to Yeshua.
Потому что это боль Бога, и это боль нашего Машиаха, Yeshua. So, Yeshua traute über alle Ereignisse, die am 9. abgeschaffen. In gewissem Sinne hielt er 9. ab mit großem Trauer. Wir können es nicht deutlich nachweisen, dass es tatsächlich am 9. ab war, dass Yeshua
we do not have proof that these things, this grief that he has over Jerusalem, was said and written on the 9th of Av. But nonetheless, these words demonstrate his grief for the Jewish people. We cannot be sure that he fasted on exactly the 9th of Av, but the very thought, this whole sense, this whole spiritual content of 9th of Av was in his life, in his heart. We can see that a lot of these events, all these sad events that happened in the Jewish history, are in a way are also in a way the consequence of us having transgressed from the Torah, that we have not recognized Yeshua as the Messiah, as a whole nation. But Yeshua says here that Yeshua has come to bring peace to the Jewish people. There may be some other reasons, but it's one of the important main ones. As Yeshua came to bring peace, he wished and desired for the people, the Jewish people, to have this peace. In him there is peace for the whole nation, and he grieves for each and everyone who does not accept this peace. Only Yeshua can give this peace. It's not an accident that 9th of Av that the fasting on the 9th of Av, it's no accident that the fasting on the 9th of Av resembles that of Yom Kippur. So, in order that no more tragic events would happen for the Jewish people, the wise people of the Jewish nation, we say that in order to not repeat such tragic events, to prevent such tragic events from happening, we need to repent or return. And they say we need the Messiah. We need Yeshua, the peacemaker.
Они связаны друг с другом. Они связаны друг с другом тем, о чем говорили пророки и о чем говорили наши мудрецы прошлого. А именно, для того, чтобы не происходило катастроф больше в нашем еврейском народе. Для того, чтобы еврейский народ жил благополучно. И для того, чтобы не было у нас больше событий, таких на 9 ава, нам нужно возвратиться к Богу, к Его пути, к Его закону. И, в первую очередь, к Мессии, к Машиаху Йешуа, которого титул «Царь мира» или «Тот, кто дает мир», «Шалом». «Царь Шалом» — это Он. Поэтому к Нему должен идти наш народ. Поэтому к Нему должен идти каждый из нас.
Yeshua came to bring something new, to bring this salvation, and to bring it not only to the Jewish people, but to all. And we read in Matthew chapter 9 from verse 14 to 17 of Matthew's Gospel. We read exactly this.
И потому что он пришел сделать это новое нечто, в Евангелии мы читаем очень интересную историю. Откройте, пожалуйста, Евангелие от Матфея на 9 главе с 14 по 17 стихи.
Matthew chapter 9, 14 to 17. Then the disciples of John came to him, saying, "Why do we and the Pharisees fast often, but your disciples do not fast?" And Yeshua said to them, "Can the friends of the bridegroom mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them? But the days will come when the bridegroom will be taken away from them, and then they will fast. No one puts a piece of unshrunk cloth on an old garment, for the patch pulls away from the garment and the tear is made worse. Nor do they put new wine into old wineskins, or else the wineskins break, the wine is spilled, and the wineskins are ruined. But they put new wine into new wineskins, and both are preserved."
Sondern man fasst muss in neue Schläuche, so werden sie beide miteinander erhalten. Евангелие от Матфея, 9 глава, 14 по 17 стихи. Когда приходят к нему ученики Иоанновы и говорят: "Почему мы, фарисеи, постимся много, а твои ученики не постятся?" И сказал ему Йешуа: "Могут ли печалиться сыны чертога брачного, пока с ними жених? Но придут дни, когда отнимется у них жених, и тогда будут поститься. И никто к ветхой одежде не представляет заплаты из небеленной ткани, ибо вновь пришитое отдерет от старого, и дыра будет".
What does Yeshua mean in these Bible passages? What does he mean by these verses? Well, he has come, and as long as he was on the earth, the bridegroom was here, and there was no need to fast. The 9th of Av on the Shabbat, remember that if the 9th of Av falls on the Shabbat on a Saturday, then the 9th of Av has to fall back on a day. So it'll be on the 9th of Av, so on the Sunday. That means that Shabbat is bigger, greater, more significant than the 9th of Av. What did Yeshua say about himself? He said that he is greater than the Shabbat. When the Messiah is here, then we move back our fasting, our grief.
Нужно на следующий день проводить то, что положено для 9 ава, а шаббат остается шаббатом. Почему? Потому что шаббат больше, чем 9 ава. А что сказал Йешуа сам о себе? Он сказал, я больше, чем шаббат.
In other words, the Shabbat is greater than the 9th of Av, but the Messiah is greater than the Shabbat. So, where's the middle point? Yeshua. And we see that Yeshua is greater than the 9th of Av. Why is he greater? Because in him, all this grief of our people is just taken away. He has come to take it all away. Our destiny in Yeshua is very different. As in him, we are to receive and have peace. And therefore, Yeshua became or becomes the center of joy and hope instead of the center or point of grief and sorrow. So now the question becomes, how should we behave on the 9th of Av? If we identify with the Jewish people, then we grieve on this day. As many various kinds of tragic events occurred on this very date, as many of our predecessors and ancestors have died or suffered. It hurts. God is hurting, Yeshua is hurting, and it should hurt us as well. Or rather, be in pain because of it. Be filled with grief.
печальница, это печаль Бога, это печаль Yeshua, это наша печаль. Aber es gibt noch was dazu.
But there is something else. We have Yeshua. We have the bride, the bridegroom. And hence, as we identify with the Jewish people and with their grief, in the middle of our Jewish people, we are here to bring hope and joy and show that there is the Yeshua, the Messiah. There is peace. He has come. And we say, Baruch haba b'shem Adonai. Welcome are you, Lord. Welcome is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. That's what God expects. Tell your Jewish friends, welcome Yeshua in my life and in the life of the Jewish people. And the 9th of Av is a good day to do that. It's a great day of grief, but also we do recognize that we have a wonderful, caring, loving Messiah who has come to bring peace. And so when we are filled with grief regarding the tragedies of the past, we are not only filled with grief, but also are to communicate, gift, or present others peace. And in a certain way, we bring this peace and also message that there is Yeshua, and with him everything will be okay. We know that Yeshua is here, just as he wanted back then, as we have read. Are you ready, my Jewish friend, to accept and welcome Yeshua? And the 9th of Av is one of the most fitting, well-suited days to welcome Yeshua into your life. And with these thoughts, bearing these thoughts, I'm entering the 9th of Av this night, this evening. I'm entering with grief, but also hope and joy. As the Yeshua, because the Yeshua is there and everything will be okay in him. I am welcoming Yeshua into my life, and I do encourage you, urge you to do the same. And in this sense, I wish all of us, but in the first place, my fellow Jewish friends, a blessed and weirdly encouraging, a hopeful 9th of Av. We are together in sorrow, in our sorrow and grief, but also together in hope and in our faith. And in this way, we will start Tisha B'Av.